Brilliant from Kennedy. Couldn't resist the shot, and it's gone in off the defender!
Determined, you lose your little player. And it's in, it's a goal from Gilmour. Jimmy Gilmour has scored for Falkirk.
Finnegan's cross, Stephen Thompson! Falkirk have the lead after a quarter of an hour!
McKenzie slips, it goes straight to McGuffey. McGuffey shoots from his own half, and that is incredible!
He's taking them all on here. Catch him if you can. You can't. That is amazing. That is phenomenal. A touch of individual inspiration from Kevin McAllister.
This is Falkirk Daft.
Hello and welcome to Falkirk Daft. Horny Falkirk Saturdays are back, baby. 5 points left to be declared champions. I think we can say it now. And we're still unbeaten after a 4-1 demolition of Queen of the South yesterday. I am your host, John McAnally, as ever, joined by the Ginger God of Pod, the one-man band in the main stand, the king of the prawn sandwich, Mr. Ross Wayne.
Good evening, good afternoon. Still afternoon, I think, isn't it? Technically.
How's your head? You made the venture down to Dumfries yesterday.
Yeah, all good. Really good day with the guys. Brilliant night, day and night at the stadium. The singing was constant in the stand as well. I don't know if that actually came over on the TV that way.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, you could hear it. You could hear it. There's a new song for Calvin Miller as well, I believe.
Yes, it was. Do you remember Sway?
When the rhythm starts to dance with me, make me say. Right. So what are the words? I've got to teach the Falkirk Daft listeners the words to this new song.
Do you know, I was sent it because I could only make it.
Were you that drunk yesterday, Ross Wayne, that you can't even remember the words to the song?
But it was very. They were. You know what kids are like. They just sing it because they know the words, and like the rest of us are just going.
You're getting that old now. You're just like Calvin Miller. Calvin Miller.
Yeah, but no. Andy Gilchrist, one of the guys in the ultras, he messaged because I asked him what's the words. He says, when marimba rhythm starts to play, dance with me, make me sing. I'm not singing it. Calvin Miller running down the wing, scoring goals. Hear the Falkirk sing. Na 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 na.
All right, okay, good. I like it. No, they did come across. I was watching it on the telly yesterday. Went up to Behind the Wall, managed to convince a couple of mates. I was like, the wife was just like, "You're just going to watch the football." I'm like, aye. She goes, just get out of there. So I managed to convince a couple of mates, went up to Behind the Wall, and shout out to all the Behind the Wall Falkirk fans in there. The rugby was on, but they also had the game on a couple of tellies as well, and switched it to the big screen as well a bit later on. But no, it was cracking in there, and hello to a few people who said nice things about the podcast, so that was very nice of them. So yeah, it was great day. The only problem being now, Ross, is we can win the league against Edinburgh if Hamilton get beat or lose. They're away to Cove next Saturday as well, so it's not out with the realms of possibilities. And I am not here for it. I am in Copenhagen. I'm sure I can find a pub in Copenhagen where I can sing "We Are the Champions," so I'm sure that'll happen.
I'm sure you will be able to, yeah, definitely. But that personally, I know that'll be a bit of a kicker. And I tell you one thing, you're not alone. I was speaking to a few Bairns fans yesterday who are over in Amsterdam for the Scotland game.
Of course.
There's a number of Bairns fans who are not going to be back in time for the game. So, yeah, it could be a big weekend next Saturday. But as you said, it's all down to Hamilton and us, because obviously we do need to turn up and we do need to beat Edinburgh. That's first and foremost. But Aki's drop any points at all.
Is it any points? I thought if they I'm trying to do the maths in this, so right, let's just do the maths here. Let's do a bit of Carol Vorderman and let's think it out loud. Right, so if Aki's right, 17 points clear at the moment, and there are 21 points to play for, yeah?
Indeed.
If we win next week, right, there are we go 20. If they were to draw, it would be Jesus Christ.
No. So if they drop points and we win, right, we would. So if they draw and we win, we would be 19 points in front with only 8 to play for. So whether they draw or they lose.
Oh man, they're going to drop points, and I'm going to miss the champion. I'm going to miss the pitch invasion. I'm going to miss the night out in Falkirk. Do you think I could cancel the stag do this close in? Do you think
You
I
not
could
just pretend you've got COVID or something, and then
you could do that?
would the stag know? Is this a close relative? Or
No,
something?
it's not. It's my cousin's husband, and it's it's second marriage stag do as well. So
Right.
like,
Well,
and I'm
listen,
going with it's like a small group. I'm going with my dad and my uncles, and my cousin's husband to be and his future brother-in-law as well.
that sounds like you could get out of that. To be fair,
It does, but I don't. I think it's. Oh no! But because what if? Anyway, that's
no,
my
in your luck, we'd end up drawing.
exactly. So man, so I can just fully expect the abuse I'm going to get if I miss this. Remember, let's go back to the Hearts game at Brockville that I missed as well because I forgot it was all ticket and I ended up having to sit behind the wall. This could be up there with it. So, just if you fancy drawing this weekend, Falkirk, that would be fine and dandy with me.
Well, Accies just need to win. Falkirk can continue or winning.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Accies just need to obviously win up at Cove.
On the Accies. But yeah, that's good. Listen, I don't. Do you know what? I don't care. I just want it to happen. I want to see us lift that trophy at the end of the season against Alloa, and then happy days. We're back in the championship. I don't care how it's done. If I'm there or not, I do care. But it's a hard one to take. But anyway. We'll see what happens. What will be, will be. Got to say a shout out to our Falkirk football fans in training, the new sponsor of Falkirk Daft. They are having the Lava Cup at the Falkirk Stadium on Saturday, the 25th of May. Opening ceremony will be taking place at 11:30 with the tournament kicking off about 12. Get along, support in it. All the money raised will go to Strathcarron Hospice and FDAMH. If anyone wants to get involved on Football Fans and Train, get in touch with Ian, Dougie McCallan or Mark Bow. You'll get all the links to their Facebook in the description below. And if you don't know what the Lava Cup is, it's a tournament for over 40s, which basically brings teams from all across Europe. I think there's a couple of Icelandic teams that are involved in it. It's basically a way of guys getting together, forming friendship and help mental well-being. Their tagline is creating a pathway to change people's lives through football. And we'll be speaking to the guys. They were on the podcast not long ago. They've got a great camaraderie. They've created a great friendship, and they're never out of hospitality. So if you want to get involved in that action, get signed up for the Falkirk Football Fans in Training. I'm surprised Ross isn't a member, I'll be honest with you.
I know you keep mentioning this hospitality. I'll need to look into this, see for next season.
Yeah. Absolutely. Couple of shout outs to do. We did Birthday Corner last week on the show. You missed that, Ross. We need to get the armband to the poor wee laddie, by the way.
Yeah, we definitely do, because obviously I wasn't on to talk about the picture, but that picture
broke your heart, but at the same time made me laugh out loud.
My God, yeah. And then you and I were having a bit of chat about it privately, weren't we? And we thought, well, we need to do something.
Yeah, so we need to get the armband. We need to get a spare armband out to that young lad. And of course, you can win an armband. A few people I was speaking to last night are coming to the live show. And by the way, if you are coming to the live show, order of the day is retro tops. We want everyone in behind the wall wearing a retro top. And shout out as well to Andy and Parliamo. I didn't get along to the gig on Friday. I'm kicking myself, but a couple of boys were there, said it was brilliant. Andy said it was a really good gig, loved it. He was sporting the old yellow Beezer Homes top on stage as well, so he obviously nabbed that off his da. But the Parliamo gig at Behind the Wall, apparently absolutely rocking, brilliant night out from all that went. Said it was great, and like I say, if you've not checked out Parliamo yet, checking them out, brilliant band, great to listen to. They're on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to your music, so get them on there. Shout out to Rab Nimmo. I'm sure you all know Rab from his comments on Come On Ye Bairns Facebook page, but Rab is out in Australia now, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's one of the many Aussie Bairns that we've got over there. Yep, he's been in touch over an X, hasn't he?
He sent us a picture, and we put this, if you're watching the video version, this is on screen now. This is basically a girl he bumped into in Thailand. Thai Bairn was her name, I think, and she's sporting the top from 2016, the white away top with the stripes down the middle of it. He said, not knowing the girl, he asked for a photo and said, I'm from there, to which she had no clue what he was talking about. What a weird place. Listen, I'd love to keep this going. If you spotted a Falkirk top in a weird place in the world, please get in touch and let us know. I remember walking through Disney World when I was about 8 and just spotting someone in a Falkirk top. I was like, very random. It's always that way. You always bump into someone in football. But if you've seen Falkirk tops around the world, let us know. Get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. And we also need to put up on our socials. The big question we asked last week, Ross, was the impossible question to answer. Who's better, Calvin Miller or Callum Morrison?
That is tough. It is tough. My current vote would definitely be for Mr. Morrison.
After yesterday's performance.
Well, he's delivering goals and he is being far more consistent as well. I actually thought Calvin Miller had one of his worst games in a Falkirk shirt yesterday.
He wasn't great, was he? We'll get into it, but
he's not going to be amazing every single game, and he has been brilliant. But yesterday.
I know it's probably a bad point to ask that question. We'll just have to wait till they both have a good game and then ask it then. Shout out as well to Colin Campbell, who reached out to us on our socials. If you want to follow us, please do it. Falkirk Daft on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it now. We're on Facebook and Instagram as well. Colin says he's been taken to the caravan to Stonehaven for the Cove game. He took it to Moffat for the Queen of the South game and Montrose as well. He's going to miss the Seaside League, isn't he? So that's the benefits of having a caravan, getting to travel around the country. But just think, Colin, exciting trips to Glasgow and days out in Glasgow next season. That'll be a belter.
Well, we could take the caravan to Maryhill. That would just
wouldn't come back quite right enough, aye. So I shout out to Colin. Hats off for you for doing that for so long. Denon's been back in touch again. He's never off this. But he's been back in touch. He says, hi guys, okay, I get it. Karma has got me big style this week. It pains me to say it, but Lewis Conley and Ekin-Su have had the last laughs this time. Firstly, I get Lewis on Falkirk Daft. Well, let me just say that's because something never happened doesn't mean that thing never happened. All right, Denon. The three greatest empirist thinkers, John Locke, Immanuel Kant, and Denon Lewis, are all agreed on that. The incident that Mr. Conley alluded to happened. This was all right. I see what Den's. So Lewis was talking about the incident with Denon Lewis, which happened, and kind of said he didn't know anything really about it at the time. So he's alluding to that. He said the incident that Mr. Conley alluded to happened in my agent's imagination. That is good enough for me. I will never forget Roger Starjumps, my agent, happy wee face when he FaceTimed me that night from Bromley. Denon, I am a genius, he said. There is no one else on this planet that could possibly storm the news agenda on your behalf on the back of you being substituted at Oakview. I heard a shout in my head, clear as anything, we must exploit it. I always had to go along with it, even if it was just one of Roger's jolly japes that went a bit crazy. Still, you've got to laugh, but not Mr. Conley. He just can't let it go, can he? Anyway, I said that it was billion to one chance that Ekin-Su's two brain cells would collide during her time in the Big Brother house, and so it came to pass as she came up with the most dazzling observation of her entire life when she said, just because I'm the most gorgeous and beautiful human that is on the planet, people don't notice how brilliantly smart, modest and witty I am. Ha! That is my line, Ekin-Su, and you know it. So when she got evicted, I obviously went on a bender to celebrate. This meant I turned up at Wokingsground at 1:30 the following day, still absolutely buttered. This inexplicably, I can't even say that, inexplicably led to Dopey Doyle leaving me out of the matchday squad yet again, not even on the bench. I wonder if he's injured. I would have been totally sober by half time. After ralphing in the tiny little Woking stand, I was being escorted from the ground by an overzealous steward when I glanced up at the away end, and what did I see? None other than that Barnet superfans Ekin Body Sue and her mum, and they were holding up a banner saying, get Denon out, and it had a cute little rainbow painted in the corner. Totally karma'd twice in the same week. The week was rounded off miserably when Falkirk extended their fluky unbeaten run to 29. Up you hell rat! Your good friend, Denon. Wow. Honestly, I want to meet the person that's writing this stuff. Their imagination is wild, and I love it.
Because having seen the email address, because it is vague, because it's not like we know who this individual is.
No, I mean, listen, it is Denon. We reckon it's Denon. But yeah, thanks, Denon. Love to get in touch. A couple of bits of club news, Ross. The KM stand is sold out for the game against Edinburgh and Alloa, and there's only limited tickets left for the Cove and Kelty. The North stand is on sale now for Edinburgh and the Alloa matches. So
brilliant. Yeah, it's going to be another few. I think the next 4 games, the last 4 home games, will be very, very big crowd. Certainly Saturday, Edinburgh is looking like it could be very, very healthy. And Alloa, as we've just said, people are already thinking about a potential trophy day against Alloa in the last game of the season. So yeah, no, it's great to see. And Montrose tickets went on sale midweek as well. So quite surprised with the allocation, because obviously I know you'd mentioned Mark from the Montrose fan that we know had thought that they may not sort of drop their trousers for us, but it certainly looks like they have given us a potential allocation of over 3,500. So yeah.
Are you training it to Montrose, or are you going to get the bus?
No, getting the train up. Yep, letting the train take the train. So
I think I will follow you with that train on the way back. This is going to be the dodgy one though, because like, how do you get back that train from Montrose? And now this is the time I went to Montrose the last time as well. It was Aberdeen, there was a lot of Aberdeen supporters on it as well coming back. So I've not checked if Aberdeen are at home.
Do you know what's a good shout? Let's have a wee look.
But it could be a later kickoff. It might not be so bad.
Actually, yes, that's a good shout. We are the later kickoff, so it might.
What time's the train back from Montrose?
There's loads. There was loads starting at like 48 onwards. So yeah, there was a few. Premiership, no. I don't know. Oh no, it's Sunday the 31st. Beg your pardon. So Saturday the 30th. Aberdeen are at home, but they're at home to County, and it's a 3 o'clock kickoff.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and the only other game in that area, St Johnstone at home to Dundee. Well, St Johnstone home game. Arbroath. The Pars are away to Arbroath. That could make an interesting.
Oh my God, that's not a good
comment. Excellent.
No, does the train run that? It does, doesn't it?
That'll go through. Well, Stirling is. Well, you can go Stirling way already.
Oh my God, that'll be interesting. A couple of Pars left over on the train. But yeah, the tickets are on sale for Montrose now, so get them while you can. I've actually not got mine yet, so that's a reminder for myself to get that sorted. And the train. What train are you getting up, Ross?
Gets into Montrose about 2:45, something like that.
I need to. We should have had this conversation off where I need to liaise diaries on that one so I can get sorted for it. Check out the Tony Begg interviews up on FTV right now. He did a chat this week just to update in the academy. It's a good watch. Tony we had on the podcast, obviously. Seems like a really good guy to have around the club and doing a cracking job with the academy as we try and get that up and underway. He talks about the under-16s and the under-18s, and the 32,000 obviously raised at the speakers night the other week there. So
phenomenal.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. What else have we got to tell you about? The end of season party, Ross?
Yes, so we've obviously got our sold out end of season party coming up, which, as we just talked about, retro night. There was actually a few people talking to me about it yesterday as well. They're really looking forward to it. We're talking about what retro shirts that they may or may not wear. So that was good. But yeah, the FSS are having their end of season party as well. The guys got in touch, so it's on Friday the 24th of May. I think they've literally just put it on sale. So that's at 7:30 on Friday the 24th of May at the Camlin Social Club, formerly the Labour Club. It's £11.25 per ticket, available from Skiddle. And what they've said to us is join the FSS for an end of season party. It'll be a raffle, auction, all the usual stuff, with all the proceeds going to the football budget, the club's football budget, for next season. So that sounds like a potential good night as well.
Absolutely. All the usual characters will be there as well. And remember, if you aren't a member of the FSS, get signed up, support the FSS, and get that solidified third stool leg all sorted. You know, there's 900 odd members. That's 900 odd members now.
The last time we did the draw, I think it was just under 900. So yeah, they might be there or thereabouts now. Yeah?
Maybe, I mean, it'd be great to get to 1,000. We're not going to get it by the end of the season, but I would say, you know, hopefully start the next season, maybe try and get to 1,000.
That would be brilliant.
Amazing. Yeah. So sign up for the FSS if you aren't a member as of yet. Actually, I've got an apology to make about last week as well. I completely misread when I was reading out the statement. We kind of glanced over the statement last week, Ross. You weren't here for it, but we were kind of glancing over, and I churlishly said we're pushed for time, so didn't have time to go through it bit by bit by bit because there was like 1,700 words of statement there, so didn't have the time really to go it. But I did make a mistake. It's for the new patron initiative, and we're actually going to speak to one of the patrons as our guest pundit, Mr. Gordon Prophet, so we can ask a wee bit more about that with him. It's £100 per month or £1,000 per annum. I thought it was between £100 to £1,000 per month, so that's just a correction from me. £100 per month or £1,000 per annum. We can ask Gordon when he comes on a wee bit more about that scheme. And I think Lewis had said there's still 25 patrons in the patrons committee as well. I think Lewis just tripped over a number there. So apologies and thanks for your email and the anonymous email that sent in that. So thank you very much for that. Yes, and I did actually, Ross, you went on last week. Was there anything in the statement that you saw that you would like to kind of point out?
No, obviously it was as you said, it was a very similar update as to, and I applaud the level of detail that we now get, because if you think back 4 or 5 years, we got fuck all information from anybody at the club. So no, listen, we got an awful lot of detail, an awful lot of good stuff in there. As we talked about, I think anything that's going to bring in money into the club, we want to obviously try and push. Because how else are we going to make sure we're in the Champions League come the 150th anniversary in 2026? But no, listen, seriously, I think obviously it's great that the patrons have looked at an alternative for those who, I think £10,000 is the amount that the patrons have all put in, minimum of £10,000. But if there's a way that people can get involved and sort of pay that up or do it that way, yeah, listen, it's good, and obviously we've got Gordon coming on in a minute, so we'll hear from him, and hopefully there'll be a big uptake there as well.
You managed to convince the wife that you can give away £100 a month yet, Ross?
My wife resents every single penny that I put into the Falkirk Football Team, so I don't think we'll be having that conversation.
Fair enough. The other thing we've got to tell you about is we've got 2 episodes of Falkirk Daft this week as well, and we spoke to, now it's not a kind of go-to name for Falkirk, I don't think, but Tam McManus was a guy who had several what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for here? Stints.
Yeah.
Several stints at the club.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he had some brilliant, interesting stories to tell. You've got to listen out to the story about Anthony Stocks, Carl Doggs, and Scott Higgins in a taxi in Edinburgh. It's an absolute cracker, and how Tam McManus may have saved the Australian boys' lives. So yeah, listen to it. It's going to be out this Thursday. Just on wherever you get your podcast, so that'll be delivered to your podcast feed this Thursday, and it's well worth a listen. We're hoping to do more of these as well across the coming months, especially we're coming to near the end of the season, and it'd be good to keep these kind of keep entertaining you and drip kind of drip feeding you across the course season as well. So we'll try and get more. There's irons in the fire, a couple of big names we're trying to get on. We'll cross our fingers that we can make it happen. But look out for Tam McManus, Falkirk Daft Meets. That is dropping on Thursday. Right, let's get into Queen of the South, shall we? And we've had this man on before. He was a member of Too Near the Kicker. He's also one of the patrons of the club and the owner of Citrus Business Solutions, which sponsor FTV. It's Mr. Gordon Prophet.
Hi gents, how are we?
Nice
to see you, Gordon. You sound a wee bit rough for wear there. Yeah, I believe you had a big weekend last weekend. That was in the Stirling game.
Yeah, from the speakers' night on the Friday night to the Stirling game to the Stirling railway station where all the young lads bouncing about. To the
were you in amongst it, Prof? Aye.
Well, it was funny because I saw there was somebody took a video from on the sort of bridge, right? And you saw these young lads all bouncing about, and then enter stage left about 5 or 6 60-year-olds.
Yeah.
But it was terrific. I would think that in 20 years' time, these guys would say, "Remember that day at Stirling railway station? We're all bouncing about. That was brilliant, eh?"
Aye.
Because there's things that happened 30 years ago that I remember, eh?
Yeah, of course, aye.
So these guys will be the same, really. So it's just been a marvellous, these guys, eh?
I know, they've been absolutely brilliant. We've obviously praised them throughout the season on here. Actually, Prof, I thought I had you down as an ultra. I was at the Stirling game, and I thought, is that Gordon you have a doppelganger? Because I'm sure there was a doppelganger of you abusing the Stirling Albion goalkeeper last weekend, so it wasn't you, no?
No, definitely not.
Right.
No, I was in the sitting bit beside all this prawn sandwiches, eh?
Oh, there you go. He's one of Ross's pals, of course. So, he runs into all his friends. You know that. I'm surprised I didn't bump into Ross there. Prof, we've asked you the questions before, so I've got a couple of different questions to ask you.
All right, okay.
We've done your favourite game, you've done your favourite player. So, what's your favourite goal from this season?
Oh, gosh. Probably Morrison's against Montrose, eh? But I've just really taken to Dylan Tate, right? And I think he's an absolute quality footballer, eh? He's just, and the goal he scored at Alloa, see when you watch it back, it's just sublime. Even the little flick from Shanley.
It's the wee kind of interchange in the passing. That was a brilliant goal.
Brilliant goalie. So I think probably those two stand out. But gosh, then you got one yesterday. Amazing.
What about big call? For getting big calls, 2 goals to be fair, and Tam Lang's at Annan as well.
I know. There's been
Nesbitt's yesterday though was a
belter
strike.
And it's just getting. It seems to be just getting better and better and better every week. It's brilliant.
Who's been your player of the season, Prof?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Isn't it difficult? There's probably. I'm probably got 4 probably for me, maybe 5 actually. That would struggle. The two centre backs, Henderson, Spencer, and Morrison probably.
Yeah.
And then you go Calvin Miller, and then you go.
Then you go Leon McCann as well.
And I wasn't a huge fan of Liam McCann's, but fair play to the lad. He's been absolutely outstanding.
7 every week, absolutely 7 every week.
He's been outstanding. He's been terrific, eh?
I know. Outstanding. Brilliant. Listen, we'll get into the game just in a minute, Prof. But we were talking on the podcast last week about this new scheme that's been raised to try and get more people into patrons. As a patron, I asked the question actually last week, and it's only fair that you get the right to answer it. I said, if I was a patron and I saw this deal, which we just talked about it there, where it's £100 a month or £1,000 an annum. To get involved with the patrons and become part of the group. I said that, if I'd ploughed £10,000 into the club like you guys have, I don't think I'd be particularly happy with that. Is that the case?
Well, I'll take you back to I'm hopefully Ken and Keith don't think I'm breaking any confidences here, but there was a meeting before the Hamilton game on the 3-2 game, and there was a number of things discussed, and that was one of them. And I promise you, at that meeting, there wasn't one person. There was 17 or 18 there, I think. There wasn't one person who spoke up against it. Yeah?
Right.
I think the reality is that we can, and this kind of takes me back when they were selling shares last summer. One thing that struck me was that there's quite a lot of people out there who could spend £500, £1,000, £1,500, right, rather than the big lump. And I think the board have recognised that, and that's part of this. The second thing is that you've got to remember is that the 2 patrons represented on the board, Kenny Jimison and Keith Gourley, are only there for a set time, right? And another part of this is possibly bringing in some more talent who would maybe want to step in when they decide their time is to step aside. So you've got to be thinking. For me, it's a little bit of thought process ahead. So one that's going to help bring in some more funding. We are a 400 club, and we don't have a sugar daddy. We don't have a Roy McGregor, or we don't have the guy at Hibs or anything like that. And this season's proven it that it can be done. Yeah. In the last 2 years, it's proven it can be done. Now, I'm very much thinking we do as a club need investment, and that third part of the stool that I think, if I'm right, it actually was Kenny Jimison and Martin Ritchie who initially thought about it a while ago. I think that part of it feels like it's not as active as it should be. Now, I think because we've got this three-legged stool, and this is me personally talking, not anybody else other than me, I quite like the look of the dual ownership thing, because in Scotland, dual ownership can only have 29% of clubs. That would fit perfectly into our model, if you think about it. So come on, the owner of Leeds United or Sheffield United or one of the big boys down there, and you come, boys, and you come.
Yeah, but
so from that perspective, that would fit that model quite well, eh?
Yeah.
And I think as well, fan ownership is one of these, or community ownership, however you want to describe it. It's really football's not a normal business. If you think about it logically, it's not a normal business. If you look at what we've done this last year and what's turning up now, people that are turning up, and what all the fans are doing, had that been, we'd all been going to Tesco's for the last 5 years, we're all buggered off to Asda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You stick. It's there. It's in, and it's not like a normal business. Crikey, look at Dundee United. They've got an owner that's owned 12.2 million quid. Now, do we want to be going down that route? I personally don't. I get. I'd love to be, where St Mirren and Kilmarnock are possibly, but I just can't see where the benefit is of running up that painful single dictatorship anymore, eh? But that major shareholder bit, Martin and Sandy and the other MSG guys have done their time with the club, and they're obviously taking a back seat now, and you've got the Rollins there as well. But I think that if the club could do something that filled that third leg of the stool, then I think that would be really beneficial in the long term, because I don't see the way we are currently now. I know when you start losing, people get hacked off and cancel direct debits and stop doing this, and sponsorship dries up and all that sort of stuff.
That's the problem with
ownership model. Absolutely.
Well, like you say, when it's all going rosy, Prof, on the pitch, you're going to see, like we've seen an upsurge in the members of the FSS, obviously. We've seen this scheme launched, and hopefully that will get a pick-up as well. But the problem is, when it does start going wrong in the park, you don't have that, and then you've got suddenly a massive hole in your finances that you need to plug. That is the problem, isn't it?
No, it is, John. But I think, and I know the guys keep asking for people to put their hand in the pocket. And the reality is that if we want fan ownership, that's what we're going to have to do. And some people don't like it, which is everybody can respect that viewpoint. And I mean,
I'll hold my hands up, and I think I've said it on this podcast. I'm a member of the FSS, but I'm not an absolute advocate of fan ownership.
So John,
because, like I say, the problems can fall down when you get to it's rosy. We're doing fine, but when I said it on last week's podcast as well. Is that there's only so much, and so much. We're a provincial club. There's only a limited amount of a fan base there when you're looking. And like you say, we're doing so well this season. We're getting the big crowds on. But you saw a few seasons ago when we're struggling to get over 2,000 in the ground. That's when it starts falling down a wee bit, and that's when the model starts falling down. That's the worry.
I think I agree with that. However, I've been watching the club. Gosh, my dad took me probably in the late 60s, eh? Yeah. So I genuinely don't remember ever in all that time the togetherness that we've had this season, eh?
Yeah.
I just don't ever remember it. Even
you see the picture behind me. The team have got it as well,
Even when the season I really remember was the Stainroad season, and that was my invincible League One season, and I'm really chuffed for as well. Just moving on a little bit, but really chuffed for the young kids that never witnessed Brockville, never witnessed any of that.
Yeah,
they've had. If you take those ultras, I bet hardly any of them ever stepped inside Brockville.
No. You're right.
And I get I've got a little bit bored with the nostalgia now. And I'm really chuffed for them that they'll have heroes like I had. You know, I had the Jordy Gibsons, the Crunchies, and the Stainroads, and they're now going to have the Callum Morrisons and the Tom Langs and the Brad Spencers and the Calvin Millers, And they'll talk about them in years to come now, I think, And
I don't know, it's a very good point to make, Prof, because you forget that, you know, they went through so misery over the last, 5 seasons, 6 seasons. And obviously you allude to the Ultras and what they've done, and the memories that this team that are on the park now are creating for those boys is brilliant.
John, Prophecy, just to pick up on that though, like if you think about, if you look at last night as a small example, because there's every game there's been examples as well, but last night, 18-year-olds, 28-year-olds, 38-year-olds, 42-year-olds, 68-year-olds, everybody was like as one in the
trolleyed. You mean trolleyed?
Aye, everybody one, and the players get it. As John said, look at the picture behind them, right? The players get it. The fans have definitely got into it, and I think we need to try and build on this. And I know, like John's right, that you hit a sticky patch, and who knows what can happen then, right? But I think you're right. We're at a point where we need to kind of build with it. And as I joked earlier before you came on, how else are we going to reach the Champions League in 2026 if we don't kind of put our hands in our pockets? But I think for me, as you mentioned earlier, this sort of dual ownership type situation. And John, I wanted to ask you this question: is that where you see it? As like,
do you know what that's for me? That's the solution. For me, that is actually the solution. This dual ownership. You know, obviously you've seen it at Dundee, you've seen it at Hibs as well. That for me is what the solution should be. You know, if we aren't going to have the, you know, I suggested trying to look for this big investment from the local companies and things like that. Because if we're not going to get that the way in Falkirk, you know, as a club. You know, we've been trusted in the past when Yogi had these connections and bringing up the Casper Schmeichels and the Tim Krulls and the Anthony Stokes and having that and having something like that if you're as a Leeds or whatever. I'm happy with that, because as long as Falkirk are doing well, you know, and if we're helping Leeds out, I don't give a hoot. As long as Falkirk are doing well and we're reaping the benefits of this sort of stuff.
I think, John, we've all seen the drive from the commercial department, which
listen,
I'm convinced. Well, I know for a fact they have spoken to the Fourth Ports of this world and the Alexanders of this world. They'll have turned up all the stones, and that drive will be coming from upstairs. I know it will be. I know the people that are driving this business.
It does amaze me as well that we've never had like Shoe as a sponsor or something like that as well. That, you know, it's, when Sandy's such a big supporter. But I mean, there's doors to be knocked. I've said it, and the commercial guys have done a fantastic. You know, it's not a slight or a dig at the commercial guys. I just think there are opportunities, and you've worked in the business world as well, Prof. And you go and knocking as many doors as you can, and you know you throw so much stuff at the wall, and you know hopefully get something back. And you know, with the big industries we have on our doorstep, it's just that's the point I was kind of alluding to on last.
No, I absolutely get it, but I think League One in Scotland.
You're not going to entice, are you?
We are a little bitty. We're a little bit. I remember about when Presley was the manager. We got quite close to getting Krabby's as a sponsor, shirt sponsor. And I think they've ended up choosing Hibs.
Yeah, they did that.
And the reality is, you know why? Exposure.
Yeah,
they were in the Premier League. They were in the Premier League, and I think the pitch that we put up for apparently was really, really good. Now. I would be surprised if there's not been people knocking the board's door, but I think in this game you've got to kiss a lot of frogs,
Yeah,
that's it.
And I think one other thing as well. You if fan ownership goes wrong, or sorry, if crowds drop and people don't sponsor things, and if his membership drops away, it's no different to a Brooks Melson getting bored.
Yeah,
but you're not in. It's not one person that's just going to pull the plug on this thing. At least you've got a foundation here.
Yeah,
that I think we can build on. there are things about fan ownership that I'm not that keen on as well. But I think the way we're trying to structure it is probably as best as we think we can. And if we can get that third leg of the stool in place and more active than the current major shareholders, and that's not a criticism of Sandy and Martin. I'm not criticising them for that. They've done the time. They've had 20 odd years, and don't get me wrong. I think they're still very, very supportive. I think they're very supportive. But I think if we can get, as I say, that dual ownership, if solution's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be, but like you say, it's just propping up that third part still, because the FSS, the patrons, you guys are doing that side, the FSS are doing that side. It is for me just getting a beer mat under that third leg of the stool, to put it bluntly, and try to get this investment into the club, and if that is dual ownership, absolutely.
Listen, we're going to be in a better position next year as well, aren't we? As Gordon said earlier, your stock rises as you progress as well, and people will see the fact that we're getting 5,000 crowds this year. We'll get more next year on the basis that we can hopefully continue to do well as well. Now the away crowds will go from a minibus up to a few busloads, so there's definitely more chance of success in that area next year, I think.
I agree with that, Ross. I think that the profile will raise if we're fortunate enough to go through the season unbeaten. Gosh, that is going to make
that's a huge thing as well.
UK wide. That's going to make it might be in League One in Scotland. It might be in a little bit of a backwater in football, but it's all about levels. And I don't remember us ever steamrolling a league like this. Do you?
No, I mean that's what it's been. It's like I was talking about this in the pub last night. I was just like, you remember the league wins, but you don't remember them like when we're before Easter and we're talking about winning the league next week. It's off the charts.
I think the season that Yogi got us promoted to the Premier League, we beat Ross County.
Yeah, it was
in mid-April, I think.
Yeah, it was
mid-April.
To do it in March would just be like insane, and but we deserve it.
Anyway, Prof, are the patrons happy with this new scheme?
I think the reality is the vast majority of them had no issues with it. Right. No issues with it at all, right? Because it's not about, you put your money in it, your shares. It's not anything. Well, for me, I can only talk for me. But for me personally, it's there. It's gone. It was good at the time. There's loads of things getting done in the background that's from a group of from the patrons that people haven't seen or not been advertised, and that's the way it should be, in my opinion. They just keep. I like how we've kept our head down. We're not been shouting about beating people 5-0 and. I look forward to boards coming in here and we'll slaughter them fine. We've just kept our head down. We've kept things quiet. We've not went running, bragging off to the press every 5 minutes. It's been a properly satisfying season, and this will be the best season ever for me in terms of only because of the satisfaction of it, and everybody's been in it together. I've never known this unity, and it's bloody brilliant. It's great.
Just because it goes back to what the team are doing on the park. That's the one thing that it goes back to, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had better teams. Let's be honest. We've had better teams. Of course, we've had better teams, but
they're getting better than Tam Lang.
The potential's there to really build this team forward.
That's the thing. You look at the team that is on the park, and we've talked about the potential. We've all said it's a championship level team. This team, and it really is. There's a few wee bits that we can improve on, I think, and we'll talk about that probably near the end of the season. But listen. Let's get into the football then, will we? And unless you want to add anything more, Prof.
No. I'm as I say, I think football is a different business, and I think if we're going to kick on, we have got to fund it between us. So if we've not got that big Roy McGregor there, or whoever's funding.
I'll be honest with you. I'd love Ryan Reynolds to come in, and that would be all right. I'm in for that, or a Hollywood star. Taylor Swift, she's looking to run a football club. Come on in, Taylor.
What was the guy? It was a little young lad that was in
Aye, young Sheldon.
Aye, Sheldon, there you go.
You must have a fair bit of bob from that. I mean, that was went on for ages, that. I'd get young Sheldon on board. He's a Falkirk man.
There we go. Anybody know his number?
Aye, there we go. Right,
You can sign
okay.
him up to the patrons first and then get him that way.
Aye, get young Sheldon on the patrons. There you go.
£100
Say, it's only 100. It's only £100 a month or £1,000 per annum. Young Sheldon, you can come and have your say. Be part. Then explain the stool metaphor. He'll get that as well.
I think as well that the patrons haven't been very organised really, and we've just, and I think at the minute that's gone on to try and just get it a little bit more structured and a little bit more help supportive of it as a group with the support society, with the club, and
well, you've got the guys that are involved in the patrons. I know a few of them, and you've got a great range of skills within you. You know that maybe there is the to use those expertise to the club's advantage as well, you know.
Well, there will be a time when Kenny and Keith want to step aside, you know. This club has got to plan for that moving forward. It's got to think about these things, eh?
Gordon Welsh, you're right. I spoke to Keith very briefly yesterday before the game. Him and the guys walked into the pub that we were in, and I said to him, listen, you can't leave until we start doing shite. So if we've got 10 years of success, he needs to be there for 10 years. Why rude? You should have seen the look he gave me.
I can imagine, eh?
Right, let's talk about Dumfries and your day. What pub were you in, Ross?
We were in a very, very nice pub yesterday. It was like the Dumfries equivalent of the Wheat Sheaf. It was a very, very nice pub.
Oh, good.
The Cavan's Arms or Caven's Arms, whatever.
Ironically, I was actually in Dumfries today. We're recording this on a Sunday. I was in Dumfries today because the boy was playing Dumfries Rugby Club. Unfortunately, Falkirk got beat by a try and by a very good side, but who have pumped everyone, and Falkirk did very well. So shout out to Falkirk's under 14 rugby team. They just narrowly missed out, so I was down there today, but we won on Saturday, and that was the main thing. So 4-1 it was. Morrison got 2, Henderson and Nesbitt got the others. 4 changes from the side that beat Stirling Albion. Stephen McGinn came in, Ross McKeever, Sean Mackey, and Gary Goals himself, Mr. Oliver, and they were in for Spencer, Shanley, McCann and Nesbitt. Ross, when you saw the team initially, so I was surprised. I hadn't seen it until it popped up on screen. Is that Stephen McGinn? I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, do you know, I had it in my head that there would be some changes because John McGlynn's been really open that he's going to be doing a bit of chopping and changing every week, depending on who we're playing. Grass pitch, not grass pitch, all this kind of stuff. So I probably expect a couple of changes. I know we're going to get into it, but I thought Stephen McGinn, for the time that he was on the park, I thought he was great. I thought some of the forward passes.
Oh, there you go. You've changed your tune after a couple of months ago where you say you shouldn't be wearing a Falkirk shirt again.
I don't think I said it like that,
We
John.
did say that. You probably think you did say you shouldn't start an our Falkirk game.
I may have said something.
Yes, you did.
But
Yeah,
listen,
I think we all got a bit short memory with Stephen McGinn, eh?
Yeah.
I remember at Hampden in the semi-final, he was our best player that day.
Yeah.
And almost as good as anybody on the pitch that day.
He was.
And he's obviously had an injury. He's 36-year-old or 35-year-old. You know, it's tough to recover from a serious injury at that age, you know, and I think, you know, if you can do 20 minutes at the end and the odd 60 minutes in the next 7 games, so be it.
Yeah.
I think we can shake his hand and be happy for the job the fella's done with us.
I totally agree. I think he's earned a pass based on what he's done so far. But the last couple of games, I think he's been especially the last 2 that he started. I thought he's done very, very well, and his forward distribution's been brilliant. He tired yesterday, like others. But and we are a different animal when Spencer's probably playing alongside Tate, but it's not in a bad way. Like it's not as if we went from playing really, really poorly to amazing just because Spencer came on. We could have been a few goals ahead, as we'll talk about at half time.
Yeah, 3 contracts on the John McGlynn said there's 3 contracts on the table. Do you think that Stephen McGinn might be one of those contracts?
I personally don't, unless Gordon knows anything.
I wouldn't know, but I'd be surprised if it was. I would have thought it's probably Yates, Oliver, and Ethan Ross, maybe. Sean Mackey, possibly.
Well, obviously,
right.
Ethan Ross isn't our player yet, so He's on.
We could get him on a pre-contract, though, couldn't we, Ethan Ross?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long he's signed. Maybe I don't know if his contract's up at Wraith Rovers at the end of the season. Dylan Tate, I believe, has got a year left on his deal at Hibs. I mean, you'd love to have another him back in for next season.
He is an absolute Rolls Royce. His movement, his vision. Yeah, he's not the best going back the way defensively, but he's still not frightened to put a tackle in. And him and Spencer, the night at Cove, I just thought they absolutely just bossed the game. It was a Gordon White, the ex-photographer of the club, sent me a message, a midfield masterclass from Spencer and Tate, and that was on the Wednesday morning. I thought it was spot on.
Yeah. So McGinn was in. I don't think we're surprised about the other changes, because like you say, Ross, he's been rotating the squad. Gary Oliver's obviously done very well coming off the bench, so he deserved getting a start. Maybe didn't offer as much. I love Gary coming off the bench because he's always good for a goal. He did, in that 10 role, he did what he could. Didn't really, for me, have his best game. I thought he did okay. But and then McKeever, we'll get into Ross in a bit. But I think Spencer was a big loss in that midfield, and I think that showed probably in the first half, Ross.
It's just that we play slightly differently. I don't think we're as quick. The movement's as quick in the midfield when he's not playing Spencer. I mean, but I genuinely for 35, 40 minutes. We were the team on top.
Yeah.
In that first half. And some of our best moves going forward came through McGinn and Tate. Like Gordon's just said, I'm a huge fan of Dylan Tate. He gets the club as well, and you can tell he's happy here, unlike his first half of the season over at South Lanarkshire. But listen, it's a different proposition, but then we change the team. We never just make one sub, do we? We always bring a couple on or three players, so it changes the full kind of forward dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, we seemed to have a lot of breaks in that first half, Gordon. We broke, really played almost. They were trying to hit us in the break, and it was like we were trying to hit them in the break because we attacked. There was so many times that Morrison was getting in behind.
They played such a high line.
Yeah.
If ever a team was set up to get thumped by Falkirk, it was playing like that. Because the teams that have done well against us, it's actually the 3 times they've played against us, they've sat in with that low block, and denied us space in behind, And I was shocked last night the amount of times that, and we were shocking in front of goal in the first half. We should have been 3 up, 4 up at half time.
Yep. I know, especially let's talk about Ross McKeever's miss.
Oh, well, it was funny that I just wondered if it just come in that quickly and he wasn't quite up above it, but he's got to be scoring, you're right.
For that range, you'd expect Ross to score, and he is one of the better headers we've got in the team.
Oh, he's unbelievable in there, Ross, and the way he gets up.
You want him there if you get across it with the ball.
But the second half he made up. See the 2 passes for the 2 goals.
We're sitting criticising, he had an assist last week at Stirling coming off the bench. He's had two there yesterday as well. I mean, Ross, I don't think he's going to get your 30 goals, mate.
No, he probably won't, but do you know what? He's scored more this year than he has at any point in his career. Listen, it just shows that I know fuck all. Which we already knew. Let's get that confirmed.
I've listened all season. That is it now confirmed, ladies and gentlemen.
I know fuck all. But listen, he's done amazing. He's been more than just goals. He's scored. He's got double digits for goals, and he deserves the praise that he gets in the most. And do you know what? We've got him on a 2-year deal anyway, haven't we? So we're going to see him next year. I think the formation will probably stay the same. I assume we've had a couple of successful years with the same sort of formation. I would like to see someone else of a similar caliber in the squad like him. But that aside, I think he's going to be a useful player in the Championship as well.
I completely agree. I've got to say a shout to Sam Long as well. I thought Sam Long, there was an awful moment in that first half where someone, I don't know what player, but he'd set this awful. Was it from a throw-in? Set it to Sam Long's feet, and he's like,
No, Sean Mackey kicked it.
and Sam Long's like, what are you doing? And he just managed to get out his feet and up the park, and we actually went on a break. From
Touch
that,
like Maradona, wasn't it? He brought it down and just launched it.
but I was like, gee, you could see it in his face. You're like, what are you doing? It's like, it was unbelievable. But 0-0 at half time, and then they come out second half. We come out second half again, and Josh Todd's unmarked at the edge of the box, hits it from 20 yards. Wicked deflection. Sam had no chance with it, and we're 1-0 down.
That's where I thought I felt that Tate and McGinn were starting to just feel that. Well, certainly McGinn was starting to feel the legs a wee bit just to that goal, because normally you'd see Spencer there just mopping up, closing that guy down, and he had the freedom of in Palmerston, eh?
Yeah, he was just standing there, like you say, Prof. He was just standing there on his own, wasn't he?
I know.
Wicked deflection. There was nothing Sam Long could have.
No, I tell you what, it was some effort from Sam. By the way, what a dive that was! He tried to get it, but there was no joy with that. Absolutely no chance he was having with that.
But it was just like it was like they kind of woke the tiger.
Yeah, do you know what? You're right. From that point there, then we were a different animal, as we've said so many times on this podcast. Absolutely different animal, because we went straight up the park pretty much and scored right after it. That ball round the corner you alluded to earlier on, Prof, from McKeever, fantastic.
Quality, just instinct. He knows Murders is going to make the run. He knows he just needs to get it through between the two defenders, and it was debatable whether he was on or offside. I think he's probably marginally off, if we're really honest.
I am all here, wasn't it?
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And Morrison missed one pretty similar in the first. In the first, what he did do better the second time was he got across to the defender, so the defender couldn't tackle him to give himself an extra yard. And I quite like their goalkeeper, actually. I think he's decent. The fellow that got in run for Hearts.
I know. Yeah. The distribution was actually very good.
He's decent, but they're I don't know. Bartley just looks out of his depth to me.
Yeah,
Doc's a good game.
I'm surprised. I went onto the Queen of South Twitter there just to see if there's been any news on this. I think what's saving Marvin at the moment is the fact that the board are stepping down at the end of the season, and they're thinking, well, it should be the next board's appointment, really. So I think that's probably what's saving Marvin's bacon. No, I've heard from guys from inside the club. They say this club's never been run from a football sense better than.
That doesn't surprise me, actually, because he seems a determined sort of character, and he seems somebody.
He's a lovely. Yeah, I can imagine. He's a lovely guy.
And to an extent, I do feel for him, because we've been there, eh?
I know. Yeah,
we've been there.
You think Queen of the South next season will come back bigger and better, and they've had a lot of injuries this season.
I like one or two other players. I think the boy Connolly's a decent player. The lad they've got in loan for Hamilton, be a footballer when I'm a ballet dancer. He's hopeless.
And Mungo. Mungo, they drink it in the Congo.
He is actually from the Congo.
Is he really? Please tell me they chant the Mungo song, please.
We giggled this last night because he has actually been born in the Congo.
My God, he's worth signing for doing that chant. Oh, a Mungo, he plays for the Congo.
I'm going to offer a slightly different opinion of Bartley. I'm not convinced. I think someone said he talks a great game, right? And he does, John, obviously, because I know there's only so much you can say because you work with him, right? But he talks a very, very good game. But see, when you listen to every single interview, including last night's, it's everybody's fault, bar his. Everybody's fault. He never takes ownership for anything that goes wrong in his matches. And that for me, I don't like that. Whereas John McGlynn, in his defence, when it has went wrong, he's owned his mistakes and went, I shouldn't have done that. And I don't think that's why Bartley, for me, is not going to... I think he'll be a good coach somewhere, but I don't think he's going to be a manager anywhere.
No, I'm not so sure. You read online in the Queen of the South fans, and they obviously think he's the worst manager they've ever had, eh? But, you're right, he has been unlucky with a lot of injuries, eh? I really like the boy Connolly, eh? I think he's decent. Now, every time we've played against him, I think he's really decent. And they've got the boy, the centre half that's out injured as well. What's his name? Oh God, his name escapes me. They interviewed him last night on TV after.
Effie Ambrose? No.
No. They interviewed.
That was surprised in the Queen of the South. Effie wasn't playing against us, by the way, because he's bossed that every time we played against Queen of the South. Effie has been knocked everything out.
But they played such a high line last night. You know,
Yeah.
the pace of Calvin Miller.
I mean, yes, the amount of times we got him behind. I know.
They'd be like shelling peas for like a big call and that, just looking for it. They know they just need to knock it, and it's not going to go to the goalkeeper. And somebody's going to get on the end of it.
I mean, it was. You're right, because I mean, the second goal that we got was a well worked move from a corner. It wasn't, but the other goals we got, we'll get to. But it was a well worked move. Great ball in from Ethan Ross, because we'd obviously by that time we'd kind of rang the bell on the cavalry. We'd brought on Ross. We brought on Nesbitt, and we brought on Spencer, and immediately Ethan Ross affects the game. Great ball into the back box, and there he is, my man Hendo, brilliant. And obviously we sponsor his goals, so fantastic, big Hendo, loving your work. And Hendo, I just love the guy. He is for me Mr. Falkirk this season. The way he reacts with the supporters, the way he celebrates goals. The way, I mean, that's Stirling, it was right in front of me, and he's just like, come on, he loves playing for that.
You remember he came through the academy?
Yeah, and he came through the academy.
He came through our academy as a kid,
and he hates Paul Hartley as well, you can just tell. But no, it's...
well, as always was a Hartley's a turn next week, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Loved that celebration, and loved his goal, and just
he's got the freeze him in the 6-yard box though. The guy just let him. Is it boy Mackay just let him run off of me? And it's just, but it's just a pity that the camera angle where the Falkirk fans are at that ground, you don't get the full. You missed any of that full effect. Imagine if that had been behind the goals. The place.
It would have been amazing.
It'd have been carnage. Yeah?
I was saying to John before we started recording. Obviously, other than the youngsters at the front, there was the not so young ones.
Was this the goal that you went down the front for?
Honestly, the second one, and we were gliding down the stairs like there was 3 pints at the
gliding. Your days of gliding are a few years ago. Not like mine.
So you're stumbling down the stairs, making sure you didn't fall, Ross. You're like taking your time, and you eventually, by the time you got down the front, you'd gone and up the park to kick off again.
There was no taking their time. We were rattled down the stairs, and I was looking at. You're right though. Had that been like a better camera angle, you would have saw. The players were almost in the stand. It was phenomenal.
The way he celebrated it was amazing. 5 goals as well from Henderson this week. When you actually look at our goal scoring charts from this week, now we know 19 for Cal Morrison in all competitions. Looking at the league scorers though, you've got, I mean, it's mental. Like, the only player that hasn't scored in the starting 11 was obviously the goalkeeper, but Leon McCann is the only real person that hasn't scored. Sean Mackey hasn't scored yet for us. But everybody else has scored the goal in that team. You're looking from upwards, you've got Brad Spencer's Calls on 2, Spencer on 4, Tom, Gary, Liam all on 5. Alfie, you forget the amount of goals Alfie scored at the start of the season. 6 goals for Alfie. Aidan's on 7, Calvin's on 9, Ross on 13, and Callum on 17. It's like goals right throughout the team, and I think that's been the big difference this season.
Are we the top goal scorers in Scotland?
Aye.
Yeah.
We certainly are.
One of the best goal difference now in Scotland as well after yesterday, won't we?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So up his Celtic and Rangers. That's it.
I dare you say that on Clyde One tomorrow.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Come on, John. We need a bit of a more mention on Clyde One. Come on, you need to sort it out now. Come on, John.
Listen, you're welcome to call in every night. Clyde One Super Scoreboard 01419511025.
We're talking about attracting major sponsors, eh?
Right, so the third goal goes in as well. Morrison again. It was that high line we talked about again, and McKeever finds him, and he cuts in, draws the foul. Like Cal Morrison, you just know. See, if you're a defender, you just know he's going to cut in. He's going to cut in every single time and look to get his shot off. But the defender, at first I thought that's that looks like a soft penalty, but there was no reaction from the Queen of the South player because he could see his reaction afterwards going, shit.
I kicked him in the shin, didn't he?
Aye.
Kicked him in the shin,
I know, but Callum obviously played for it. I mean, if he'd stayed up, it would never have been a penalty, but if he got hit, got the contact, got it down, and then stood up himself, wrong footed the keeper, boom, 3-1, brilliant.
Game was done then. I think it was done.
It was done. It was done after. It was done when we went 2-1 up Ross. Prof was saying, space, we were finding Miller Miller had gone by that time, but Morrison's finding all sorts of space. And with Brad Spencer quarterbacking at that point, you just thought this could be a lot more goals coming in. We got it. We got the 4-1. By the way, the free kick gets you away, and there's Aiden Nesbitt, much like Josh Todd, acres of space at the edge of the box on the half volley. What a strike from Aiden. You heard in his interview, it could have went miles over the bar, but absolute postage stamp into that top bin. Unbelievable goal.
It's just one great goal after another, just one great moment after another. This doesn't come around very often. It was 20 years since we won a league. This has just been...
It's been brilliant.
Magic. It's been magic. Brilliant. And I know we've all kind of McGlynn, and will he start tinkering with the team and all this sort of thing, and he has, and it hasn't made any difference.
It's not made any difference at all, has it?
He's goalkeeper swapping. Whenever he was up in arms about him swapping the goalkeepers, but I go back to he's managing these people day to day. Yeah, he's managing them every day. You're not going to tell me that he hasn't sat down and talked to the boys and said, look, I rate you both, blah, 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 blah. I want to give you as much game time as possible. This is what I'm thinking about. What do you think? Because I can't believe he's not done that.
I'm sure he will.
I don't think Lincoln's had anything to do with it either. I just think...
you're not into my conspiracy theories then, Prof, no?
No, I think it's less shite, John, that one. I'm sure John wants to do the best by Lincoln as well, because he's got their player. I'm sure he has, but I had heard. You got to remember as well, the first I don't know, 15 games, some long played them all, didn't he? Then got injured.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere that both the goalkeepers have benefited. They've kind of looked ropey the first game, but have got better as their 6 or 7 games, and that's true. Long's got better and better and better. With the dodgy punch against Annan. But since then his distribution is better than Hogarth's too.
Yes, I definitely agree that it is better than Hogarth's distribution.
See, the thing is, even saying about the punch against Annan, like I know I said this the podcast straight after that, but we should never have put him in that position anyway. We could have held the ball up the far end of the park. So I'm not even sure I give him too much baggage for that one, but
and then in their second and third ball after he's punched it as well. He's punched it. Where's the defender reacting to him punching it?
Yeah.
And then Cole Donaldson's headed it, get kicked it off the line, and then somebody's still third ball. So it was his mistake. Let's not kid ourselves on here, but that's one position I think we need to think seriously about next season.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. You're in 4-1 up the road. Brilliant result for us. Got to be happy with that. 31 unbeaten league matches now in a row. 29 this season, 2 from last season. Obviously a club record, unbelievable. And 629 Bairns made it down to the match, even though it was on the telly. It was a horrible night. Out of 990 again, outnumbering the home supporters for a team that at the start of the season. And let's not forget this. Obviously I'll go back to Dunfermline being like last season. I was having a conversation with Dunfermline. I said, there's actually more full-time teams down in the league than there was last season. Do you know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah. So last season, you had us, Airdrie, and Dunfermline. This season, you've got Cove, Queen of the South, us, and Hamilton. So, when you go Queen of the South, for a team that were meant to be, we're sitting going, right, it's good. At the start of the season, we're saying it's going to be Queen of the South, us, and Hamilton. And we just blew them away, and we've got a terrible record at Palmerston. We talked about it last week, absolutely awful record. So to come away 4-1 up, it's unbelievable.
Apparently, we've only won 3 in the last 11 down there now.
Yeah.
I remember going, I'm going to go back now. I told us, I've commented about not going back and thinking about times gone by. I remember going down there years ago. We used to murder them because they were ganting.
Yeah, they were. Killer 4-5-1s. We would win down there.
But it's been certainly since we've come in. They've improved, and we've struggled the last 4 or 5 times we've been down there. Eh?
I actually remember the first time I ever went to Palmerston. It was mid-90s, and we played them in the old. It was a Coca-Cola Cup, as it was titled at the time. And John Lambie, it was his first proper.
We won 2-0. We won 2-0.
Yeah,
I was there.
And we're a
Morris Johnson scored. Morris Johnson scored.
Wow. And, I would have struggled to tell you who scored, but I just remember being a huge Bairns crowd behind the goal on the terrace when the terrace was open, and it was a scorching day. But everybody singing Johnny Lambie's "Bar Me Army" and everything, and they're like, "What a car!"
That song didn't last long.
It didn't last long at all. No, it didn't.
Brilliant crowd, brilliant win, and let's hear what Mr. McGlynn had to say.
John, you probably won't see a better second half performance than that. You must be really happy, especially after maybe not taking a few chances in the first half.
We made it a bit more difficult for ourselves than we needed to by maybe not taking the chances that you mentioned in the first half. We've got a 1v1. Callum Morrison's all the way through. I mean, Calvin Miller had a great opportunity in one as well. We had chances from corner kicks. We had some good crosses in the box. But Queens were always a threat. They were always a threat. Connolly did really well down the left-hand side for them, and he's put 2 great balls across the face of the goal that on another day could have gone in because big Mumbongo got in the end of them, just didn't hit the target. So, and that can happen in football. As much as we dominated most of the first half, they were still a threat. And we were okay at the start of the second half, but the lad Todd's hit an amazing strike, and obviously we got back into the game very quickly. A good move, ball up to Ross McIver, and he plays it right quickly around the corner, and Callum great pace. So delighted that Callum got that one because he probably was playing on his mind about the one in the first half. So delighted he got that and got us back in level very, very quickly. And from then, obviously the penalty, Callum stands up, takes it. We've introduced subs from a variation on a corner kick. Ethan Ross puts one in the back post, and Hendo's got himself in there to get the third goal, and then a great strike from Hayden Nesbitt for the 4th goal. So once again, subs coming on, playing their part, the whole squad, exactly doing that, playing their part, everyone playing their part, which you need. And so over the course of the last 3 games, 3 away games, 9 points, up at Cove, then Stirling, and here. Amazing crowd today again, 629, travelling down here to Palmerston, a fair trek, and the guys spending a hell of a lot of money to these 3 away games, and so we can't thank them enough, and your backing was fantastic. I'm glad, I hope you enjoyed the game. It was a good ending, that's for sure, and it was nice to see the fans and the players celebrating together. It speaks volumes for everyone.
There you go, a happy John. That's what you like to see. He's not had much to be unhappy about this season.
And he got an amazing photographic memory about goals through a game.
Oh,
and then Adam will talk to him sometimes about when we played so and so back in October. And he can rattle off the goals and who scored them and the moves and everything.
He just lives and breathes football, doesn't he? You can just tell, like, his wife must, shut up, John. I don't want to hear about Cole Donaldson's goal. You know what I mean? You could just shut up, John. Go to your bed. Let's watch Strictly.
John, see, just before we move on for John McGlynn, did you see the pre-match video they put up on Friday?
He was looking a bit cash.
Well, he was looking very, very casual. However, they obviously hit the record.
I did see that. I did see that.
He's like, they're in a rustling. There you are.
Love that. It'd be great before the end of the season. We'd love to get John back.
Did he not let one go, one of the ones?
He did. He did. He farted on one of the interviews. He did.
Boy. He can do what he wants. do what he wants, Mr. McGlynn. It does amaze me that, you know, when you look at, I guess I'm you know, Aberdeen will look more. See if I was Aberdeen, I'd be looking at someone like John McGlynn to come in, because he's the kind of manager that's somewhat Aberdeen, and I'm amazed he's not been linked with any jobs that have come up recently, because he's, you know, he did a decent job last season. I won't mention the playoff. He's put together this team this season, and you think, you know, they talk about getting all these young managers, and someone like John McGlynn would, you know, I'm amazed he's not been linked with any of the kind of jobs that have come and gone, you know.
He just feels a good fit for our club. I don't know why. It just feels like a good fit, you know. And I think I'm pretty sure the board just let him get on with it. You know, he'll have a budget to spend, and you spend the budget, John, and you know you'll tell us who you're signing when you've got them lined up. You know, and that's that. I'd be surprised if that's not the way we manage him, because he you know he's had the t-shirt, hasn't he? He's done that whole thing. You don't need to be some bloody director of football and all this sort of thing. But you know, I think one thing I'd like to see is kind of boosting up is probably the scouting system. I think it's important that you know, we lost a scout last year, and I think John and Paul are doing it themselves.
Oh really? Yeah, no,
so
you're right.
I think that's something that, you know, if ever John was tempted away, John, or you know, decide, you've got to have a continuity underneath him, I'd have thought.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because we've got all the analysts there and all that sort of stuff, you know, and it feels like we're trying to build the thing properly. You know, the club's not perfect, far from it, but it feels like we're trying to do things in the right manner now.
Absolutely. Let's see what the supporters had to say on the game. Ryan kicks us off with saying wasteful in the first half despite controlling most of it. McGinn put several balls over the top. Was only a matter of time before we took advantage. Second half, ruthless. Spencer, Nesbitt and Ross were all excellent when they came on. Some brilliant goals, especially Nizzy's.
Absolutely. Wee Tam the Bairn says outstanding performance in the second half, and the atmosphere with the 700 fans was tremendous.
Craig says about time the like watching Brazil chant came back.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've heard that one, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's gone back to Brockville days, definitely. Although our Brazil, I don't know if Brazil are as good as
it's just like watching Argentina doesn't really scan very well. It's just like watching Argentina. No, you have to go watch.
I'm sure at one point I heard the Queen's fans saying, "Top of the league, you're having a laugh."
No,
it lasted a minute, I think.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. It was. Do you know? It's actually a really sad. Like I've as I say, I've got no love for Marvin Bartley, but I don't mind Queen of the South. But it was quite sad to see how sparse that home crowd was yesterday. There was 300.
It's sad seeing how sparse the Hamilton. Never mind Queen of the South. What about Hamilton?
Hamilton can stick in the ring.
I know, but the crowds there, John, is pathetic, man. Absolutely pathetic. You know what I mean? It's like for a club that were in the Premier League not so long ago.
Yeah, but let's, John. All my days watching football, Hamilton's support's always been garbage.
Yeah, it's always been.
Yeah,
and you know they've punched away above the weight. You know, for a long time.
Ross says that they are where they should be in League One. Hamilton, I believe, is his take on it.
No.
Well. Aye, well, listen, for a number of reasons. I've worked in that area for 7 or 8 years now, and I've said this before. I've never met a Hamilton Accies fan, in my whole time working in the area. And pre-COVID, I worked in an office with 1,300 people. I knew 4 Falkirk fans that worked in the office, and I knew no Accies fans. It's full of Rangers, it's full of Celtic, it's Motherwell as well.
That's the problem with being in Hamilton, though, I guess, in that kind of area, is that you're stone's throw away for Ibrox and Celtic Park, so you're going to struggle. I mean, we're lucky, clubs like, and I'm going to say their names, Eldon and Falkirk, we're all right because we're not. I mean, we still see the buses leave to Celtic and Rangers, but we're a wee bit more distance away from those clubs, so. We can get a local support.
I hope they come up through the playoffs because I'm really going to miss lonely Accies if we're not in the same league. I'm almost looking for that before I'm looking for John McGlynn's interviews after game every week now.
Shout out to Brandon and Bennett, only Ackies. Right, John Mitchell says, just shows how good the squad we have. I think our fans just take Morrison being excellent every week for granted. Excellent result and unusual that the ref had a fairly decent game. That is one thing. I think we take Callum Morrison, we don't talk about how good Callum Morrison is enough, I don't think, because, I mean, like you could see he's obviously, he's signed a new contract. He's obviously happy playing his football under John McGlynn. And he had, that left back for Queen of the South, he had him an absolute toast all match yesterday.
He did, aye.
Yeah, we do. I think we do probably sometimes take Callum Morrison for granted.
I think probably because he in the past before this season he could have been brilliant, but he had some stinkers where he just didn't turn up in bigger games.
Well, yeah, you went back to decision making, and we had the chicken and steak references last season. I've never lived that down, but it just seems to be that John McGlynn's got him playing in a system that suits him.
Yeah, well, he just. We maybe don't give McGlynn enough praise, and Paul Smith for the way they've developed some of these players who, let's be honest, under Martin Rennie and under I keep forgetting his name, Sheeran, were ridiculously poor. Aidan Nesbitt, McCann was crikey, McCann hardly could get a game. Cal Morrison was. It was just so all praise to the coaching team. They've done an unbelievably good job.
Definitely have. John Harden says, I was surprised seeing the lineup, but I wonder if John McGlynn has seen the impact quality players can have off the bench. So I was looking to win the game over the full 90. Spencer and Izzy turned the game against a tiring Queen of the South. Thought Long played well as well. And Big Hendo, player of the season.
Listen, wouldn't rule it out. We're going to have a Falkirk Daft player this season. That'll be going up to, obviously wait a bit longer, but I think Kendall could be a name that could be coming a lot.
It is the hardest ever decision.
I mean, I don't know. I honestly think player of the season, you could pick any one of them because they've all been brilliant this season. And I mean, we talked about at the start, Lang, Spencer, Donaldson, Hendo, McCann. A player we don't talk about enough is Aidan Nesbitt as well. The work rate and what he's put in. I've just mentioned about goals he scored. That goal he scored yesterday. Morrison, Miller. The list just goes on and on. So
I'd love to see the stats on how far they run during the game.
Oh, I think Aidan Nesbitt will.
Well, we were talking about the difference between Gary Oliver and Nesbitt, and whereas Gary Oliver's a clever footballer, he does not nearly do the yards that Nesbitt does, but I'd love to know how it just appears a lot less. I bet it's probably not, but it just appears that way. Interesting. But he's been. My mate Derek Steele absolutely loves Nesbitt. Nesbitt's babies. He was of Nesbitt's babies.
Can you imagine a Junior Steele with Nesbitt's hair?
I tell you, I think the man bun's coming out.
Brilliant. Josh says this team is built different. Never let the heads drop. When we went behind, stepped up a gear to fight back. Huge performances from Cal, Hendo, and McKeever. Buzzing for next week now.
Yep, absolutely. Graham says it all started so well with McGinn constantly playing Morrison through with his diagonal balls, and if only Eddie's shooting boots on in the first half. However, still don't think we played particularly well despite scoring 4 goals in the end, but that's why we're champions.
Said the word there. Stuart says wasteful for the first hour, then ruthless for the last half hour. Brilliant reaction to going behind and subs again, making a big impact off the bench.
Indeed.
Did you hear Bartley's interview?
I did.
There were nothing in the first half, he says.
I don't know what games he's watched.
And then Sandra Brown's is agreeing with him, eh?
I think she does that a lot, though, doesn't she?
She's the spokesman for them. She used to win the BBC, wasn't she?
She did. I mean, I brought up the match stats. In fairness, we went 54% to 46 possession, 15 shots to their 12, 7 shots on target were equal. So actually, when you look at on paper, It does look like a very even game. When you watch the game, however, it certainly wasn't that.
No, it didn't feel like that.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
No. I tell you, the big fella among Bongo, he was pretty naughty first half as well.
Aye.
Yeah, he was late quite a few times, wasn't he?
And he was pretty. And I think Henderson and Dawson were getting pretty hacked off with him. And there was one just near the start of the second half where he pushed over Hendo, I think it was. It was just like two hands on his back, and he was like, this is the referee. Honestly, hopeless.
Paul Turner says, good to see Ross resolving a difference of opinion diplomatically in the first half between the supporters and the stewards. Shout out for Dylan Tate, my man of the match last night. Ross, can you fill us in? What happened?
Yeah, so the steward was... I think he was seeing things. I think he alleged someone standing behind me was having a drink of something he shouldn't have been having a drink of in the stand. So about two or three of them come up quite heavy-handed. And not just me, there was a couple others got involved, and we said, listen, there's nothing going on. He's all right. Listen, he's fine. On you go. So it took about 60 seconds, 90 seconds of persuasion, but we got the stewards away and nobody got chucked out. So, and he wasn't doing anything wrong anyway. He was fine.
Was that the one with the sunglasses? Was that the one with the sunglasses?
No, it wasn't one of the. There was a steward with sunglasses on, actually. No, it wasn't her. It was a couple of the others, but 90 seconds of negotiations, and they.
Well done, Ross. Well done. You did your good Samaritan in the game. Was it one of any of our friends, perchance?
No.
All right, okay, right. Do you know who it was, though?
Yeah, no.
Right, okay.
It was a case of mistaken. The stewards would have been mistaken. It wasn't.
He was fine.
It wasn't my son, perchance, was it?
No. he was on the road in front of me.
He was on the pitch at Cove.
Was that the pitch invader? That's it. Gets a face, they'll die. And finally, Ross.
And finally, announced John McGlynn nude calendar. I think this was Shirley.
Who's asked for that?
It was an ex called Shirley something, and she said, announced John McGlynn nude calendar.
John McGlynn nude calendar, oh my word. Tam Lang I get, John, I don't know, but maybe he maybe does some that Balding glass look, Ross, that maybe does it for some people.
John, I could do a bit of negotiation with you.
What's that?
I'm the sponsor of Tom Lang's away strip this season.
We've got the heritage top.
All right, so you. Oh well.
Alright.
You can well.
I've got a meeting with Tom coming up. Come on, let's go. If the restraining order doesn't kick in. Right, okay, Falkirk Daft rated player of the week. Who is it going to be? It's a tough choice, Ross Wayne.
Callum Morrison for this week for me. More than deserves it.
Obviously, Navy Blue, and he's Falkirk through and through, apparently.
He is indeed.
Callum Morrison for me as well.
Others as well, though.
Callum Morrison, and that's I think for 2 goals. I think McKeever's two. I think McKeever had a great game, but I thought 2 assists could put him into contention. But Callum Morrison, 2 goals, ran that left back ragged all game.
Terrorised him, He absolutely terrorised him.
Do we have a Falkirk Dafty? Gordon Prophet.
I've got 2.
Ooh, who are you going for?
One player and one. I'll do the player first.
Right.
Finn Yates. I thought you got a bit of a torrid time for the boy Connolly, right?
Yeah.
Although he did stick to his task and eventually got on top of him. But the other folk at Dafty is the guy in Pie and Bovril who still thinks he's a customer.
Yes, this is.
I'm on Pie and Bovril. What is this?
He still thinks he's a customer, and he's going back to the Bairns in 1998. Because he still thinks he's a customer, and we just wiped the floor with Queen of the South. We've won 29 games or unbeaten in 29 games. We could talk about his them, and they were lucky.
Yes, they do.
Exactly. Just enjoy it.
Yeah,
enjoy it.
It's mental. For me on the pitch yesterday, and he's been brilliant. So it's hard to say this, but I thought he had his quietest game for us was Calvin Miller yesterday, and I think he was one of the first that I thought was going to get subbed, and he did. So
I think I've got to go with Calvin as well. We asked the impossible question: who's better, Callum Morrison, Calvin Miller? I think it's probably unfair to ask that question after he had, like you say, Ross, probably one of the poorest games he's had in a Falkirk jersey.
He was just quiet. He didn't do necessarily anything wrong, but
There was one
Pass
point
at the
where
second
I
half.
thought I was
Pass at the start of the second half.
Aye, there was one point he had the ball and he had to, like, Morrison was running up the side of him and he just played it with a wee bit more pace and he kind of rolled it into him, and I thought if he played it more pace, Morrison's going to run and hit that first time. But there was, I thought he was quite quiet yesterday.
There was the break in the first half where there was Miller, Morrison, and Tate. Tate won the ball edge of your box.
Yep.
And sprinted ahead down the right hand side, and for me, Miller should have reversed it back to him. He played in Morrison. Morrison busted out of the bar.
Yeah, that was the chance. Yeah.
So I actually did think that Yates had one of his poorest games of the season. Actually, yesterday.
Do you know what we need?
Sets himself such a high standard as
I
well.
know.
Yeah. Can I just say right now that we've had this rotation of the squad, right? When's Captain Chaos got? I mean, he came on for the last wee bit yesterday, but let's unleash the beast. Let's get Alfie playing against Edinburgh. Put him through the middle, man. Just put him through the middle. Just that game yesterday, it would have cost absolute that high line. Imagine Alfie on his game. It would have been unplayable. So Captain Chaos, right, Mr. McGlynn, you've rotated the squad. We all want to see it. Bring Alfie in. There we go. Start the chant.
He actually looks like he lacks a wee bit of confidence now. It looks like his confidence has gone a wee bit.
Unleash the beast, Captain Chaos. Come on. You know you want to do it.
Do you think we're going to go unbeaten then?
Are we going to go unbeaten? I, at this point, think we might now. I think we actually might. I'm looking at the games ahead. Montrose, I think Hamilton's going to be tough. But you just hope the confidence has come. They'll be looking, if we go there as champions and they have to give us the guard of honour, they'll be looking at that mark in our head. It's like, right, we can't win the league, but we can stop Falkirk going unbeaten. That's going to be the big test. And I think Montrose away is difficult as well. It always is up there. But
I think we can. I genuinely, I can't see anybody. If you think even yesterday when we went a goal behind, there was no lack of confidence that we were going to get back into the game. And the question was, how long was it going to take us to score? Is it we were going to do it quick enough so that we could then go on and win the game, which it was, or we were going to leave it a bit later and draw? I just don't see us losing a game between now and the end of the year.
TNS, PSV Eindhoven, Borussia Dortmund, and I believe some mad Turkish team are the only other teams in Europe.
Is it not? It's not Dortmund. It's is it Dortmund?
No, it's Dortmund. It's Dortmund.
Well, it's unbeaten. I thought it was.
It's a German team.
No, it's Dortmund. It's Dortmund. It's under
Dortmund. I thought it was Munich.
Yeah, it's
all right.
Wow. They're going great guns this season. So yeah, there we go. Last man standing. Let's see who it is at the end of the season. Hopefully, it's going to be us.
I think the toughest game will be Hamilton away.
Aye. I think, like you say, the mark in the back, and if they have to give us a guard of honour as champions, which hopefully, fingers crossed, will happen, but not next Saturday, it's going to be a tough one. It is going to be tough.
So we're going to win the league next Saturday, do you think?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I won't be there.
He can't go, Prof. He's got a stag do.
Yes,
well, I'll definitely be here next weekend, and I've.
Fingers crossed.
I think I'll probably make Montrose as well. So, but I can't. I suspect it'll be next weekend. I suspect Hamilton will drop something. Sorry, John. Sorry, John.
Right. Anyway. Right.
You've got the stag do to Falkirk Stadium.
I know, but let's not go to Copenhagen. Let's go to Falkirk.
All right, no, get it.
Let's. I'll take you up the welly. It's just as nice, you know. And forget that mermaid statue. You see those two big horses over there.
You better take a right few quid with you. It's expensive there, isn't it?
Thanks, Prof. I've already heard that. I'm going to be absolutely out of pocket. Falkirk have won the league. I'm going to be crying. Well, I'll be singing "We Are the Champions" in Danish on a karaoke somewhere. Let's hope.
You'll not need,
Listen,
at least you'll not need a VPN to watch Falkirk TV.
Well, that's true. That is very true. Very true.
Listen, we're never going to mention it to you anyway if you miss it.
No, absolutely not.
So,
I'm sure I won't hear the end of it. Prof, thank you so much for coming
Great.
on the podcast.
Thanks for giving us the time.
Thanks for letting us into the patrons and stuff. Some really interesting chat on that. And as you say, the new patron scheme is available for you guys to get involved in. £100 a month or £1,000 per annum.
Yeah, I
corrected myself there, got it right again.
Yeah, as I said, I think I said this earlier, but I'm so pleased for the 16 to 25-year-olds that have never really experienced this before. We've
not experienced this before, like Christ.
Yeah, but
16 to 25-years going 29, 31 games unbeaten.
Yeah, but winning a league, is
no, you're right. They've never seen it.
They've never seen it, and they've been so instrumental in changing the atmosphere in that stadium.
They have been absolutely instrumental. When you hear John McGlynn, you hear the players, you see the players, and they have made a huge difference this season, as we all know.
All right, guys. Fingers crossed. Enjoy your stag do.
If you want to be a guest pundit, we've only got a few slots left until the end of the season. You can drop you can hear Prof coughing as well. You can drop us a DM on Twitter, Facebook, or email us pundit@falkirk.co.uk.
Sorry. Bye. I'll go and die somewhere else.
Right. Cheers, Prof.
This is Falkirk Daft.
That's one down. We can actually now say we can win the league next week. Oh my God. I was having a drunken argument with my brother last night, Ross. I was like, no, we can't win it. We can't win the league next week. Don't be silly. I'm in Copenhagen. Then he sent me the Caravaggio and Mass went, oh yeah, so we can. Because I was thinking, right, because I was like 21 points to go, and then I forgot to reduce it to 18 points. Oh no. So I'm on my stag do in Copenhagen. I'm going to try and do you think if the pub will ask if we're going to a pub and say, can you put the Falkirk TV on? That would be.
I think, yeah. You would need to, because I don't think you'd be able to get it on like a dodgy VPN or anything. But Fire Stick type thing. But I think if you bought it and you asked them if you could stream the game at the telly, I'm sure they would.
Yeah. Can I just airplay it to the telly?
I cast it to the TV. I think they would.
That'd be amazing. No, I think I'm going to try. I don't know what our movements. We're going to the Heineken factory, but I don't know what the movements are. But if I could find somewhere just to sit down my phone and watch the Falkirk game, that'd be interesting. Keep an eye, obviously, up at Cove to see what's happening out there. But I mean, we saw yesterday Edinburgh, the first team to be relegated in Scotland. I mean, God, the Edinburgh City boys, we spoke to them at the start of the season. They've got a nice wee club there. Terrible stadium, as we've always absolutely all experienced. But I think the supporters feel really hard done by. Had massive financial problems. I mean, there's talk about them even folding. They've got a very young team. We've struggled in saying that. We have struggled against them. That goal that they probably should have had a goal against us at the stadium the last time round. It was 2-2 at their place, which was, they were at 50-1. But, with 5 points on the board, coming to champions elect at Falkirk, you can't see it.
Yeah, I'd be really shocked if they got anything drawn. They have drawn a couple of games.
Were they not 2-0 up against Alloa yesterday? And they came back 5-2.
I'm not sure as to
they were up. They were winning. They were winning
at one point, right? They've obviously ended up losing that game pretty heavily. They've not won a game since the 18th of November, 2023. So it's been a long time since they won a game. So listen, I can't personally, if we turn up, and I probably sound like a broken record, but if we turn up, I think we're too much for any team in this league. And John McGlynn, in a pre-match press conference 2 or 3 weeks ago, said someone at some point is going to get a doing. You could argue that the scoreline last night was a bit of a doing, but I think what John means is at some point we're going to put 6-7 goals past somebody. And being honest, next week potentially could happen. They're already relegated, and
heads will be down.
They'll be playing for a bit of pride and stuff, but Do you know what I'm really looking forward to next week? And you'll hate me saying this, right? But see, because both games are kicking off at 3 o'clock, I know. See, because both games are kicking off at 3 o'clock next week, right? Say Cove got a goal up. The crowd will know. The players will then get a feeling. The crowd will be up for it. The noise level will just go mental. We'll then get a goal. In an ideal world, we'll get a goal. And
we're going to win it next week, and I'm not going to be there.
I know, I do feel bad for you. I still think you can get out of this stag do, though, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Hamilton. I mean, Hamilton, saying that the boy Rose is making a huge difference to Hamilton. By the way,
listen, they could go up to Cove and win, and if they do, they do, and it just means that it's still within our own grasp. Well, listen, the league's done, but what I mean by that is, we know we need 2 more wins, right? Yeah. And if we beat in Edinburgh City and Alloa, we
need a draw. We actually need one win and a draw. That's all.
Well, no, it's 5 points in it, so we need. So no, you would need a win. 2 wins. Yeah, it's 5 points. We need because I think the maximum that Aki's can get to is something like 79, and so we need to get to 80. Officially.
But goal difference is what I'm saying.
Goal difference, you're right.
So you effectively just because of goal difference, I don't think they're going to catch us on that.
You wouldn't have thought so. No, you wouldn't have thought so. So, but if Aki's will do win up at Cove, then it moves on to Montrose, and if it goes to Montrose and we need to get a win, I'm sure we would get the win because we'd all be up there, huge numbers, looking for it. You could have 2.5.
It could get that annoying. It could get that annoying point though, Ross, there where you draw at Montrose and then you've kind of won the league, but you've no.
Yeah. Well, we would have not officially. You're right, not officially. But
I know, but it's really frustrating because you can't really.
But then
invasion,
in that scenario, though, you could then win it at home to Cove Rangers the week after. There's no bad outcome here.
This is true. But yeah, I think it's nothing but a Falkirk win, isn't it? I mean, I can't see anything.
It would be the shock of all shocks if it's not a Falkirk win next Saturday.
What prediction are you going for?
I'm gonna stick my neck out and go with John McGlynn's theory that someone's gonna get a doon. So I think it'll be a heavy scoreline. I'm gonna say I'll be conservative with it as well, though. I'm going to say 5-0 Falkirk.
Bloody hell.
That's me being conservative because I genuinely think their confidence will be shot to shit. Our confidence couldn't be higher. There'll be a huge crowd at the stadium, probably 5,500, 6,000, mostly Falkirk fans, if not almost all Falkirk fans. And I think if we got an early goal, I think we could absolutely hammer them. Absolutely hammer them.
I'll go a bit more conservative. I'll say 3-0. I'll just keep quite conservative. I think a wounded animal. I think they'll
be hurting. They will. They'll be hurting. And we tried to get somebody on from the Citizens podcast who they've been on before. The great guys. And you can understand if they maybe didn't want to come on tonight. Because it's a sore one. We've been there.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about football after a relegation.
No. True.
Yeah.
True. Oh, well, that is Edinburgh. First chance to win the league is next Saturday, and I won't be there. Great.
This is Falkirk Daft.
That is it for this week's Falkirk Daft. Thank you very much for listening or watching. By the way, update on Latte Pay Night. A lot of people are getting refunds now, which is great news. If you haven't done so, you've got a ticket for the Latte Pay Night, you can get a refund if you've got it on Eventbrite. But I believe there is also Wix have been giving away tickets as well. And I think if you get in touch with the customer support at Wix events, if you bought them through that, and I think you can... The more people that get involved and say this has not happened, the more chance you've got of getting a refund. But if you did get them at Eventbrite, I've heard from lots of people now that have been getting refunds for the Latte Pay Night. So get onto Wix as well, and I believe the more pressure that comes from them, if you email them support@wix.com with your name, ticket order and the amount you paid and state with like a refund from the organiser, they'll help chase that up. So if you have got a ticket for the Latte Pay Night, get your refunds now, because the guy who organised it is just not been helpful at all. So get involved. In fact, he's involved at Edinburgh City, so he might be at the game next week. So there you go. Right, okay, thank you very much for listening or watching Falkirk Daft, wherever you get your podcast. You've seen us on YouTube, hello. Remember, you can get merch for the end of the season, still time to get that. Get your Falkirk Daft merch, merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk. Get kitted out for the end of season party. And thanks again to our sponsors, Falkirk Football Fans in Training. Remember, Lava Cup, 25th of May 2024 at the stadium. Get along, support that, and help raise loads of money for Strathcam Hospice, and get involved with the Falkirk Football Fans in Training. The links are below. Right, Ross, it's going to happen next week, isn't it? It's going to happen.
I think it might, but...
Oh no, don't say that!
Listen, it'll happen. What will be, will be. If it's not next week, it'll be the week after. If it's not,
I'm going to get videos of just you in the pub and Elliot's are behind the wall just having a party. There's me sitting with a can of Heineken
that you paid £18 for.
Beside that, I paid £18 for sitting crying beside the mermaid statue in Copenhagen. Oh man, what a nightmare. But anyway, as I said, if we do it next week, brilliant. It's done. We can enjoy the rest of the season. We can have a laugh. We can just start playing Agyeman as a right back. It'll be brilliant. Anyway, that's it for Falkirk Daft for this week. Thank you very much for listening or watching, and we will see you hopefully next week as champions. So anyway, what do we say instead of that?
We say, fuck you, Ackies. We're going to win the league. Expect unexpected.